Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final part of the final episode of my WWE 2k19 Universe mode. It has been a tremendous journey to get here, but this is the final part of War of the Worlds, the last pay-per-view event in 2k19. Starting off this part, we have an Elimination Chamber matchup featuring 6 competitors throughout Universe mode history who have made a mark, been championship material, and want to cement their legacy with this final victory in the game. However, first, introducing to the ring is one of the representatives from NXT, that being the Octopus, the Foundation, Jonathan Gresham. Gresham, with a very minuscule amount of pedigree and experience here in Universe mode, really didn't make his presence known until the very end of 2k19. However, if he could pick up a victory here tonight, he will send himself into 2k22 with a tremendous amount of momentum following him and propelling him to potentially chase after that the championship aspirations that you know he has. However, for the time being, Jonathan Gresham, being the first competitor in this contest introduced, will step inside one of the Elimination Chamber pods. Making his way to the ring next, we have a man who has held the Raw World Heavyweight Championship, and up until the current reign of Kazuchika Okada with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins was the longest reigning Raw Heavyweight Champion at 234 days following a victory over AJ Styles, who was the previous longest reigning champion, before losing it after those 234 days to Aleister Black. On top of that, Seth Rollins, a former Triple Crown champion, achieving just about everything there is to do on the Red brand, in addition to being a former tag team partner as part of the Freebird rule, in which the Shield were the first ever SmackDown tag team champions and held those for 90 days. So Seth Rollins, no stranger to success here in Universe mode. The second longest reigning Raw Heavyweight Champion, making his presence known. However, Rollins never quite branching out past that brand, and perhaps heading into the new season could be looking to cement his legacy on one of the other shows. However, the Architect arriving here tonight in style, and it's worth mentioning first off that Seth Rollins is a representative of Ring of Honor currently, as well as the fact that he ran interference at Death Before Dishonor in the ladder match between Andrade Cien Almas and Will Ospreay, where Will Ospreay attempted to reclaim the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship, at the time being the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. So there's some bad blood in this contest between Ospreay and Rollins. Ospreay, a man that we're about to see make his entrance now. Here comes the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay had a tremendous rise to glory as he defeated Adam Cole to claim the television championship at the time, holding that championship for 222 days, the longest that any man has held that championship, currently being held by Shingo Takagi for 126 days, the man that defeated Will Ospreay to claim that championship. On top of that, Will Ospreay was the man to dethrone the longest reigning SmackDown champion in Universe mode history, Drew McIntyre, who held that championship for 333 days before Will Ospreay wrestled it away from him at SummerSlam in the main event. However, after 13 minutes and 26 seconds, Will Ospreay lost the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship to the current champion Andrade Cien Almas. Another man who has held the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship in the past on 2 occasions, that being Pac, the man that gravity forgot, the evil bastard, and he was successful over another competitor who we will introduce a little bit later on in this contest in order to claim that SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship, holding it for 35 days before losing it to Aleister Black. And Aleister Black would go on to hold that championship for 182 days before Pac, then being known as Neville, recaptured the championship for yet another 30 days before once again surrendering the championship to CM Punk. Pac is one of the most decorated competitors that we've ever had in Universe Mode, and his accolades go beyond just his capabilities within the ring. And coming to the ring next, we see the Swiss Cyborg, Cesaro. Cesaro in the past has been a primarily tag team competitor in Universe Mode, however looking to branch out from that ever since he was the original Raw Tag Team Champion as a member of the Bar with Sheamus, in which they held those titles for 139 days. Later on in Universe Mode, after a great deal of time had passed, Cesaro would go on to win the Tag Team Championships on SmackDown, from Ring Kampf, with his tag team partner in the Kings of Wrestling being Cassius Ohno. Following their victory, Cassius Ohno relinquished that championship so that the Bar could claim the Tag Team Championships and return their status of glory, in which they held those titles for 103 days. We prepare for the last competitor to be introduced into this contest. Making his way to the ring is the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura! Shinsuke making his presence known here at the War of the Worlds pay-per-view event, the first ever Raw World Heavyweight Champion, in which he held that championship for exactly 3 weeks, 21 days before losing to Samoa Joe. Following his loss of the Raw Heavyweight Championship, he made his way to SmackDown, where he defeated the second ever SmackDown World Heavyweight Champion Finn Bálor to claim the SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship. He held that championship for 56 days before losing it to another competitor in this contest, that being Pac. Shinsuke Nakamura, no stranger to success within Universe Mode, however it has been a long road back to the top ever since coming up short, challenging Kazuchika Okada not too recently for a shot at the championship, a shot at the IWGP championship. A couple of these competitors have challenged Kazuchika Okada throughout his reign, that being Cesaro way back at Destruction for New Japan. Shinsuke Nakamura challenging Kazuchika Okada way back at Fastlane for a shot at the championship. Okada as well going into WrestleMania to defend his championship successfully against Kenta. Now we see, starting off this matchup, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. Urashou Ten from Shinsuke Nakamura looks for the grounded kick, but Cesaro able to sidestep and answer back with a deadlift German suplex. Strike to the face now as Nakamura looks to get back into it, but clothesline takedown from Cesaro with a great deal of ferocity. It's worth mentioning that Shinsuke Nakamura's shot at Kazuchika Okada's World Heavyweight Championship was not the first attempt that he had at that championship. In fact, if you go back to 2K19's New Year's Revolution pay-per-view, there was in fact an Elimination Chamber matchup similar to this one that was held for that championship, in which Kazuchika Okada defended successfully against Shinsuke Nakamura, John Morrison, Samoa Joe, Aleister Black, and Brock Lesnar. We see making his presence known now in this contest the third competitor to be introduced, that being Pac. Pac with a tremendous tilt-a-whirl DDT looks for the quick pinfall attempt on Cesaro, but a seasoned competitor like Cesaro is going to take a great deal of withering down before he is going to sacrifice his chances of success in this contest. Torture rack position now for Pac as he turns him around with a UFO, catching him on the way down, looking for the pinfall attempt. But Pac as well, a very seasoned competitor here in Universe Mode, and deservedly so. You cannot argue with the fact that each competitor in this contest deserves to be on this stage, deserves to be challenging, potentially to cement themselves as the next challenger for whatever world championship they may find themselves on that respective brand. Seth Rollins now being introduced into the contest as he looked to take it to Cesaro, but Cesaro with a squatting power slam, as well as on the outside Shinsuke Nakamura landing a landslide. Exploder suplex on the inside from Cesaro, and a Hurricane Rana takedown on the outside from Pac. Pac picking Shinsuke Nakamura back up into a seated position to nail him with a dropkick from behind, and you got to imagine that all of that damage coming down on the grates on the outside is going to do a tremendous amount more to take down and defeat. Kick to the back now of Nakamura as Seth Rollins answers Cesaro back with a reverse DDT. Now we introduce the fifth competitor in this contest. As this contest is moving fast, we see Will Ospreay being introduced into this match, and he is immediately beelining it for Seth Rollins, frustrated at the fact that Seth Rollins cost him a chance at reclaiming his championship. And it seemed at the time that an inverted rewind Rana to Rollins on the outside, just going to show what I had said about the greats on the outside. Now Ospreay utilizing a maneuver such as that. We see on the inside Pac and Cesaro actually surprisingly teaming up on Shinsuke Nakamura. And now it's Cesaro who picks him up into the squatting power slam, showing off his strength on Pac. Pinfall attempt here. As we look to introduce the final competitor in this contest, it seemed like it was only 60 seconds for each contestant to get involved. However, we have ourselves a full field now, as every competitor is involved in this contest, yet none have been eliminated. Going back to what I was saying regarding Ospreay, who now hits a German suplex on the outside, following it up by spinning Rollins inside out with that lariat. Go to Europe from Cesaro, military press into the uppercut. Shinsuke Nakamura landing a knee trembler to the gut of Pac. As we see Will Ospreay positioning himself on top of the pod, diving down onto Seth Rollins. The second that Seth Rollins got to his feet, he was met with Ospreay coming from the heavens, diving down on top of him. And the frustration that Ospreay faces following, and a single leg Boston Crab on the inside now, as Pac looks to, Cesaro looking to utilize that maneuver on Pac. Gresham with the advantage on Shinsuke, as we see Ospreay looking for another dive on the outside. Sidestep by Rollins, but now it's answered with a Spanish fly. Meanwhile, on the inside of the ring, we see the neutralizer from Cesaro. Pinfall attempt here from Cesaro, and he could be eliminating the bastard Pac. However, only a 2 count from Cesaro for the time being. Will Ospreay with a rebound off of the ropes, perhaps looking to set up. Now we see a lifting pedigree from from Pac on the inside of the ring. Double pinfall attempts here, but I believe the referee has his attention directed towards Pac's pinfall. Now giving the attention to Gresham, who went for the pinfall on Shinsuke. Here we see, Will Ospreay nailing a sunset flip into a roll-up on Seth Rollins, getting a very near fall for that. Will Ospreay, again, frustrated at the fact that he claimed that SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship, but having the shortest reign of any champion in Universe Mode history, having only held that championship for 13 minutes and 26 seconds before being cashed in on by Andrade. In the attempted ladder match where Ospreay tried to get his championship back, European uppercut now on the outside to Seth Rollins after they locked eyes following the backslide attempt. Now Gresham going to look to get involved on the outside, but Will Ospreay making him pay for that with that lifting inverted DDT. Rollins now being sent back to the inside, and Ospreay going to follow him following the dismantlement of Jonathan Gresham as he looked to get involved. Meanwhile, on the inside of the ring, we see the Rings of Saturn now being applied by Pac. However, Shinsuke Nakamura successfully evading that maneuver due to most likely the MMA influence of Shinsuke Nakamura, that he has that experience to find the wherewithal to escape a hold of such magnitude, lifting him up for the fireman's carry and driving him across the neck. As now we see on the outside Will Ospreay with a straight jacket backbreaker. Cesaro now on the outside with a submission. Kinshasa on the inside from Shinsuke Nakamura. And the pinfall attempt. Pac is the first person eliminated in this contest. Following it up is a 630 from Will Ospreay off of the top rope, looking for the pinfall on Seth Rollins. Diving elbow, a drop to the outside from Cesaro. As now we see Will Ospreay answering back, roll through into a pinfall attempt. The referee counting for Cesaro after the elbow drop. Now a pinfall attempt on Nakamura, but it is not to be, as Ospreay unsuccessful in that pinfall attempt as well as Cesaro. However, Shinsuke Nakamura nailing the Kinshasa. It was able to put away Pac. Cheeky Nando's kick now to Seth Rollins. And selfishly, I am a little upset at the fact that Pac has been eliminated so early on in this contest. He is one of my favorites. Crucifix bomb position countered by Nakamura into a neck breaker, following it up with a knee to the face. Now we see Cesaro and Gresham going at it on the outside with a deadlift German suplex. Meanwhile, Shinsuke Nakamura with a knee strike on the inside of the ring, gesturing to the crowd as he looks for a pinfall attempt here. Seth Rollins just pacing around inside the ring. STO now from Nakamura to take down Rollins, as Jonathan Gresham looked for the pinfall attempt on the outside. European uppercut, however, from Will Ospreay levels Nakamura for the time being. Now we see Ospreay gets Rollins up, drills him into the canvas with that Fisherman Buster. Cesaro and Gresham continuously going at it. Spine Buster there from Cesaro into the pointed region of the pod on the outside, just drilling the spine of Gresham into the pod. Now we see Cesaro yet again attempting a dive from the top rope to the outside, a situation that we don't typically find himself in. And now Will Ospreay nailing that drop kick, the drop salt rather, onto Shinsuke Nakamura. Running super kick from Seth Rollins as Shinsuke Nakamura crawling over into the pin, looking for a pinfall attempt on Ospreay. Seth Rollins going to follow it up with yet another pinfall attempt. Meanwhile, on the outside, we see Jonathan Gresham locking Cesaro in an ankle lock. Forcing the submission. The Octopus has forced Cesaro to submit here tonight. And now we are remaining with 4 competitors in this contest. Pac and Cesaro have both surprisingly been the first 2 to be eliminated at the hands of Jonathan Gresham and Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura now going to look to go after Seth Rollins, perhaps, sending him to the outside, as now we see Gresham squaring off with Will Ospreay. Nakamura here could be attempting to ascend to the top rope, going to dive down on Seth Rollins, but no water in the pool on that attempt, as Rollins now with capabilities to go for those step kicks and perhaps busting open the face of Nakamura in doing so. Ripcord Oh, and we see on the inside of the ring, Will Ospreay spinning Jonathan Gresham around with such velocity as the Revolution knee catches Shinsuke Nakamura on the outside from Seth Rollins. Both pinfall attempts, however, coming up unsuccessful. Seth Rollins on the outside could be looking for God's last gift. Small package driver, and that could be enough to put away Nakamura here too. And no! Nakamura once more getting the shoulder up, surprisingly. Doing so, now we see Ospreay on the inside of the ring. Ace Crusher from the top rope. Could be following it up now in a fashion that only Will Ospreay knows how to do by diving from the top rope here. 630 senton to Jonathan Gresham. Pinfall attempt here. 1, 2, and 3. Will Ospreay has put away Jonathan Gresham, and now we have 3 competitors remaining in this contest. Shinsuke Nakamura going for the pinfall attempt, but Ospreay surprisingly broke it up, perhaps wanting to put away Rollins himself. And in doing so, delivers a tiger suplex to Shinsuke Nakamura. Super kick takedown from Seth Rollins now. Now Rollins ascending to the top rope. Half the field remaining in this contest. Rollins not sure on who necessarily he wanted to target there, but rather hopping down and electing to go after Will Ospreay now, draping him across that middle rope and coming in with a great deal of speed, following it up with a monkey flip to continue the momentum on Shinsuke Nakamura, and a kick to the back now from Seth Rollins. Rollins looking to ascend and climb to the top rope as Nakamura coming to on the other side of the ring, perhaps not quite in time. No, Nakamura actually going to be looking to go to the top rope. Ace Crusher from Will Ospreay catches Seth Rollins, diving down, perhaps looking for that frog splash, following it up with a Rainmaker from Will Ospreay. And now, finally, we could be seeing Will Ospreay sealing the deal on Shinsuke Nakamura's fate here with a Stormbreaker. Pinfall attempt 2. Nakamura getting the shoulder up. Just barely there. And now it's Rollins. Going to look to go after... Oh no! Nakamura holding him in position for Seth Rollins to nail a leaping enziguri. Pinfall attempt, however, Ospreay once more getting the shoulder up. Next we see Seth Rollins swinging neckbreaker takes down Ospreay. It seems like Nakamura and Seth Rollins perhaps have formulated a temporary alliance. No, and now we see Shinsuke Nakamura turning his back on Seth Rollins, perhaps knowing the tactics of Rollins, knowing that he would be betrayed if had he not acted sooner. Now it's Rollins with the advantage here. Suplex flips him over to a neckbreaker, bringing him down. Looking for a dropkick to the back of Ospreay, but Ospreay came to in time to realize what the danger that was held in front of him was. And we see Nakamura with a series of strikes. Could be looking to get Rollins into the corner. However, landing the Falcon Arrow, he had done the deal. As now we see a schoolboy following it up with a power bomb to Rollins. This time electing not to follow through into the pinfall attempt. As now we see Ospreay looking to gain the advantage on Nakamura, but a roundhouse to the face could be stopping his chances. However, a released German suplex now from Ospreay, showing signs of life. Sit-out powerbomb from Ospreay. Pinfall attempt as he drapes across the shoulders of Seth Rollins, and barely getting the shoulder up was Rollins. And Rollins, a house of fire, pumped up, running knee strike to the face of Will Ospreay. As now he goes after Shinsuke Nakamura. Revolution knee strike! Now we see the pinfall attempt from Rollins. Broken up, however, by Will Ospreay. Not necessarily sure what Ospreay had in mind, as Shinsuke Nakamura could have been eliminated there. However, perhaps the disdain that he has for Seth Rollins fueling him more so in this contest. There we saw the Rewind Rana following it up with a knockout to the back of the head of Shinsuke Nakamura with that forearm strike. Now we see the Irish Whip preparing Shinsuke Nakamura by sending him off of the ropes into a Japanese arm drag. Another Rewind Rana is going to keep Seth Rollins leveled for the time being. And yet again, Ospreay looking for that knockout strike. Ospreay really managing to play the field here, looking for the Oz cutter off of the ropes. Now a pinfall attempt from Shinsuke Nakamura. Seated kick attempted by Rollins. There we see the Rainmaker clothesline. Looking to follow it up with a shooting star attempt. However, no water in the pool for Ospreay on that attempt as Rollins was already recovering. Inverted suplex now from Shinsuke Nakamura. Now as Ospreay looked to retrieve Shinsuke Nakamura rebounding off of the ropes, he came to blows with him. Now we see lifting him up into a powerbomb position for Nakamura, driving him face first into that apron. Now it's Rollins who takes the advantage of Shinsuke Nakamura in the corner. Once more, Ospreay going for the knockout strike and the spring off of the ropes. The way that Seth Rollins came crashing down on that bottom rope, sprung and propelled him into the air. Now we see once more Stormbreaker to Shinsuke Nakamura. Pinfall attempt here from Ospreay. 2 and again. Nakamura refusing to say die. Continuing to fight on in this contest. Strike to the face now of Rollins. Turns him inside out with that Regal Plex. Springboard off of the ropes as Ospreay looked to come back in with that handspring Enziguri. However, Nakamura rather looking to go for the pinfall attempt. And now it's Ospreay and Seth Rollins here queuing off on one another. Rollins back up to his feet now as we see on the inside of the ring a Kinshasa from Shinsuke Nakamura. It eliminates Will Ospreay, surprisingly. Will Ospreay did everything he could to persist in this contest. However, Seth Rollins could be reaping the rewards of the distraction caused by that Kinshasa. Curb stomp now from Seth Rollins. Could be looking to put away Shinsuke Nakamura. Bloody battered Nakamura cannot kick out of the curb stomp attempt. And Seth Rollins successful inside Elimination Chamber. Much to the disdain of the crowd here tonight. Rollins walking away with the victory. Considering the 6 competitors that were in this contest, this was anybody's fight. It's tough to say that any man in this contest didn't bring the fight here tonight. However, the capability to claim bragging rights over Will Ospreay goes to Seth Rollins for tonight, as he was successful in Elimination Chamber. And depending on whether or not these two end up on the same brand in the next game, we may be seeing a continuation of Rollins and Ospreay feuding with one another. If that is the case, there is already some bad blood between the two, and it will just continue to get thicker than water. The final contest of 2K19 is about to begin. We are introducing the 3 World Heavyweight Champions that we have for each respective brand. Introducing first is a man who formerly was one of the Raw Tag Team Champions with his partner Matt Riddle, in which they held those championships for 98 days. That being the current NXT World Champion, Jeff Cobb. Currently, Jeff Cobb has held that NXT Championship for 112 days, meaning that he has tied Jay White's reign with the championship, and if he can hold it for yet another week, which as it seems he will since he is not defending it here tonight, he will eclipse the championship reign of Sonata to claim the spot as the 4th longest reigning NXT World Heavyweight Champion. Following his victory over Samoa Joe at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, Jeff Cobb in a sense, kind of turning his back on the fans. Or perhaps no longer requiring their support. Coming to the ring next is a man that we had mentioned in the last contest a great deal. The former Mr. Money in the Bank who made his presence known at SummerSlam. That is right, Andrade Cien Almas, the active Ring of Honor World Champion. Having defended that championship on 2 occasions since winning that championship from Will Ospreay at SummerSlam, where he cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Andrade went on to participate in the Battle of Los Angeles, however, not the tournament in which there was a competitor who was crowned for the PWG World Championship. However, Andrade was rather involved in a Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship match where he defended that Ring of Honor Championship against Eddie Guerrero. He then went on to Death Before Dishonor to defend that championship against Will Ospreay in a ladder match where he acquired the assistance of Will Ospreay. Andrade has quite a pedigree, quite a history here in Universe Mode, defeating the other leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón last year in Hell in a Cell. By defeating Naito, he claimed control over the group, and in doing so has enlisted the help of Rush and Shingo Takagi. And lastly, making his presence known, coming down the ramp, he is the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada! And he is the active IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Kazuchika Okada, preliminary to claiming his championship status among the greats, was also the the second longest reigning television champion in SmackDown history. Will Ospreay, as mentioned in the last match, 222 days with that championship. Kazuchika Okada, however, 191 days, defeating Tommaso Ciampa to claim that championship and going on to hold it until WrestleMania, where he lost a triple threat contest between Kazuchika Okada, Kevin Owens, and the eventual winner, Daniel Bryan. In terms of his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, he claimed that championship from Aleister Black and would go on to hold the Raw World Heavyweight Championship for 106 days. And upon it being rebranded to the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, he would hold it for yet another 146 days. Most previously defeating Bret the Hitman Hart to successfully defend that championship. He has also taken on all comers in his wake. As mentioned earlier, Cesaro, Kenta, Shinsuke Nakamura, just some names in the path of Okada. Brock Lesnar, Aleister Black, Samoa Joe, so many people that Okada has put down for that championship in their attempts to claim it and wrestle it away from him. Now we see Andrade propping himself up in the corner, perhaps looking to separate himself from the two other world champions in this contest, but he's met with a draping DDT now from Okada, as Okada cleaning house on both competitors in this contest. This will be contested under triple threat elimination rules, and nobody's championship is currently on the line here tonight. Okada now with an Irish whip across the ring, sets up Andrade nicely for Jeff Cobb to take the advantage in the corner here. However, Andrade answering back. Cobb now being the one sent into the turnbuckle, where Andrade catches him with a drop kick into the corner. Okada, however, kept following that up by going after. Oh, and now going to send Jeff Cobb to the outside. Triangle drop kick. Hit a shin breaker back suplex combination on Andrade on the inside, and now dropkick from Okada sends Andrade to the outside. Okada is cleaning house, and the cleaner, or the Rainmaker. I don't know why I called him the cleaner. Double Russian leg sweep. Now we see some teamwork on display from Andrade and Kazuchika Okada. Perhaps not the particular route that either man would find themselves in this contest. However, Jeff Cobb is the biggest in size competitor involved in this matchup, so utilizing some teamwork for their own benefit might not be the worst idea, as now a dropkick levels Jeff Cobb, and Okada is really running the show right now in the middle of the ring. However, now we see Jeff Cobb Irish whip takedowns across the ring, running in with a spear, following it up with a belly-to-belly suplex on Okada, following that up with a dropkick to Andrade that sends him to the outside. And we see Cobb looking to follow Andrade to the outside, but Andrade hastily returning to the inside of the ring where he can pick the bones of Kazuchika Okada following the offense of Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb not a fan of Andrade's strategy, however. Power slam position hoists him up into a stalling suplex. How long will he hold him up there, letting all of the blood rush to the head? Turning him around, German suplex here. Second German suplex now. And a third German suplex from Okada as he maintains the waistlock advantage throughout the duration of that sequence. Yet another dropkick from Okada. Strike to the face, however, from Andrade, who was across the apron. Arm drag takedown now from Okada, who sends Andrade into the turnbuckle pad. Series of strikes from Andrade now that bring Will Ospreay all the way across the ring and towards the ropes. Now Andrade suspending Kazuchika Okada from his legs, hung up over the top rope, and able to nail a rope-hung flatliner. Andrade looked to get the advantage. However, Cobb now from behind hoists him up and shifts him with a sidewinder suplex. Okada could be at the mercy of Jeff Cobb here, however, nailing that European uppercut before Cobb was able to ascertain much of an advantage. Standing switch counter from Jeff Cobb now in the corner. Once more we see him looking for that running spear in the corner. However, this time Kazuchika Okada privy to Jeff Cobb's attack. Power slam takedown. Now we see Okada being the one to nail the Irish whip across the ring. Pepsi twist from Andrade. Had Okada in the hammerlock position and taking his head off with that clothesline. Twisting and drilling the shoulder of Okada into the canvas, as now Andrade maintaining the advantage over the Rainmaker for the time being. Cobb just going to gloat in the corner until Andrade's work is done, and Andrade successfully nailing the Meteora in the corner to Kazuchika Okada, one of his signature maneuvers. Cobb looked for that lariat takedown, however Andrade now answering back. Elbow to the knee of Andrade. Standing switch to get the waistlock advantage behind at the hands of Jeff Cobb. Now Jeff Cobb with the advantage on Okada. Going to position him on the ropes here, dishing Okada to the outside, and Jeff Cobb is the only man remaining on the inside of the ring for the time being, but now he's going to look for a tope con hilo! Jeff Cobb with tremendous athleticism. He at one time was known as Mr. Athletic, and showing you exactly why there with a tremendous tope con hilo to the outside. Okada now returning to the inside of the ring, the confines of the ring, where he can secure a pinfall perhaps if he is able to maintain this advantage he has over Andrade for the time being. Catches him with that back elbow into the corner, and now we see the Rainmaker saluting for, perhaps looking for that maneuver. However, first drilling Andrade into the canvas with a DDT. Now we see a roaring clothesline takedown. Jeff Cobb returns to the inside of the ring. Okada sends him pillar to post. Position now on the top rope is Okada, as Jeff Cobb going to look to follow him up there here. Suplex now from Jeff Cobb. Has Okada hoisted up there, suspending him in midair, and once more allowing the blood to rush to the head, this time of Okada. However, doing that from the top rope is just going to add an extra degree of hazard to it. Now we see the deadlift German suplex at the hands of Jeff Cobb, looking for a pinfall attempt here on the Ring of Honor World Champion. He does so. My goodness. Andrade's been put away. I wasn't expecting that maneuver to put him away. I thought it would take at least a tour of the islands, which we see now on the outside to Okada. Perhaps Jeff Cobb waiting to put away Okada on the outside. Shockingly, Andrade has been eliminated in surprising fashion here tonight. Now Okada looking to go after Cobb on the outside. It's still a triple threat contest, so no countouts are going to be accounted for here between these two competitors for the remainder of this contest. Irish whip now from Okada sends Jeff Cobb into the corner. Thrown to the outside once more is Jeff Cobb, but holding on for Okada to nail him with a drop kick. Okada's pumped up on the inside of the ring, as we can see. Sent back to the inside is now Okada, looking to send Cobb into the turnbuckle once more. Kick to the gut now. Positioning Cobb on the top rope. Legs draped across that top rope, and draping DDT from the top. Delivered by Okada. Okada perhaps looking for a European uppercut there. Cobb now sending Okada to the outside. Once more going to get a running start perhaps. Another tope con hilo from Jeff Cobb. All of that weight coming down from such a height at such a velocity down onto Okada has got to really be taking a toll on Okada as this match continues on. Irish whip now across the ring. Cobb repeatedly nailing those uppercuts. Back elbow in the corner now to Okada, sending him into the turnbuckle once more with the European uppercut. Now rebounding off the ropes, looking for that drop kick, but it's sidestepped by Okada, who now shows Cobb how it's done with a drop kick of his own. And Cobb going to look to recover now in the corner. However, seated position is not quite a safe territory for Okada. Cobb now eating a boot to the face in the corner. Roaring clothesline takedown from Kazuchika Okada, as now we see him calling for the Rainmaker. And can he nail it? He does! Ripcord Lariat. Now, once more calling for the Rainmaker. Not ready to put down Jeff Cobb just yet. German suplex. Wristlock advantage. Rainmaker! On Jeff Cobb. Nailing that maneuver twice. Now going for the pinfall attempt here on the NXT champion, but gets the shoulder up despite a series of Rainmakers. Slap to the face now from Okada, who lifts him up in the back. Suplex takedown from Jeff Cobb, however, into a side headlock. Now it's Cobb who has the advantage, draping Okada across that top rope and sending him careening back. Okada quickly back up to his feet here, ready to go. Now nails that forearm smash, follows it up with a Manhattan drop and a power slam to follow that up. Now from the top rope, Okada looking for a tremendous elbow drop, the likes of which we saw from Cesaro in the last match. Very near fall.
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
I didn't ask you a question. Very near fall from Okada. Consistent forearm smashes to a dazed Jeff Cobb now. Hoisting him up into a tombstone pile driver. However, Jeff Cobb could be positioned a little too close to the ropes here. His toes could be underneath. No! Electing rather to get the shoulder up. Fireman's carry position here. Series of elbow strikes, however, able to evade. Now pops him up. Deadlift German suplex from Cobb. Tremendous power on display from Mr. Athletic Jeff Cobb. Hoisting up. Oh, and a standing shooting star press following the deadlift back suplex. Pinfall attempt on Okada, but Okada again getting the shoulder up. Despite the best efforts of Jeff Cobb here to fight on, to continue on, to try and defeat Okada. Back elbow to the face now. Okada rolls to the outside here. Perhaps looking to get a little degree of space here. Forearm strike to the face. Nails a German suplex. Could be turning him inside out for a Rainmaker! 1, 2, and 3. Kazuchika Okada reigns supreme among the current World Heavyweight Champions. The 252-day reigning IWGP World Heavyweight Champion continues on to cement his legacy here in Universe Mode as perhaps the most dominant champion we've ever seen in the male division. Female side is a different story when it comes to Ember Moon and Asuka's time, but throughout the entirety of WWE 2k19 I had such a tremendous time booking the territory, making my champions, making my shows, drafting the rosters. I had such an elated time. I had such a great time doing all of this, and I'm so happy that you could have all joined me. Thank you for all of your support and always watching, and thank you